And now I'm excited to introduce representatives from two of the other critical donor countries who have been strong supporters of the Global Fund since its inception. We were due to have Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee join us, but she actually personally called my colleague Tara to let her know that she was sad to miss it because of a vote on the floor of Congress. So with that, I'd love to introduce representatives from France and the United Kingdom. First, I'd like to call onto stage the host of the last Global Fund replenishment just a few years ago in Lyon, Ambassador Phillipe Etienne, the French ambassador to the United States.
I'm very happy to be here, also not only as Ambassador of France to the United States, but also as a former member of the board of the Global Fund, and as representing a country which indeed has always been at the forefront of this fight, including in the creation of the fund. So I am delighted to represent my country here and to join you in commemorating High-Level World Malaria Day 2022. As it has been said, significant progress had been made in the fight against malaria between 2000 and 2019. Incidence rate fell by 29%, while the mortality rate plunged by 60%. But in the context of the COVID pandemic, better coordinated efforts, a stronger political will, increased global and national funding, and significant community engagement are vital to consolidating progress. France will reaffirm its commitment to the fight against malaria with financial supports to UNITAID, the Global Fund, and Gavi, and with the implementation of projects and research supported by the French Development Agency and the French National Research Institute for Sustainable Development. The Global Fund is a leading international funder of the fight against malaria. As my colleague from the African Union said, it provides 56% of global financing and has invested about $16 billion for that purpose since 2002. France is a top European donor and second largest historic donor to the Global Fund, and it has contributed nearly $8 billion to the fund since 2002. It illustrated indeed its steadfast commitment once again, and thank you for reminding us about this. In 2019, it was a year when France chaired the G7, when France hosted the last replenishment conference in Lyon. That conference successfully reached its goal, raising $14 billion for the 3-year period of 2020-2022. On that occasion, France raised its own contribution by a notable 20%, up to $1.3 billion over 3 years. Besides this, we are also the second largest financial contributor to the EU budget, and you know that the EU Commission is also one of the most important donors. The portion of the Global Fund devoted to combating malaria represents 32% of the amount allocated per disease in the current cycle. Following a decision taken at the Fund's last board meeting, the overall allocation per disease was revised upward for tuberculosis, while limiting the impact on funding for HIV and malaria, especially in the countries of sub-Saharan Africa. Mindful as we are of the impact of the COVID crisis on Global Fund programs, and especially on the fight against malaria, France has been resolutely reminding international organizations of the importance of keeping the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria focused on its original mission. Because as you told us, dear colleague, malaria kills still and takes many more lives than COVID. France particularly supports the approach of strengthening health services, one of the Global Fund's strategic goals. Strengthening health services directly contributes to the fight against malaria by enhancing the capacities of laboratories, of community stakeholders, of information systems, and so on. This fall will bring the 7th Replenishment Conference hosted by the United States. As we could hear, the investment fact sheet features an ambitious $18 billion target, requiring a clear proactive mobilization strategy including to identify new sources and new funding schemes. France intends to renew its commitment. France is also involved in combating malaria through l'Initiative, and contribution to the Global Fund to finance technical assistance and high-impact projects to French-speaking countries. Between 2011 2020, l'Initiative provided nearly 800,000 euros in technical assistance to fight malaria and strengthen national programs, and more than 250,000 euros to support catalytic projects, mainly operational research projects. We also support the rollout of the malaria vaccination program in the countries of sub-Saharan Africa, launched by Gavi in January 2022. Gavi is taking the same approach as the Global Fund toward strengthening health services. So we are here on a multi-dimensional effort, and I thank you for inviting me, and I wish you all the best and all success. All possible success. Thank you. And now you can applaud me.